Jolingo mojola achamile amatoda. Jolingo mojola achamile amatoda. Osi chamile izinganecho kaucho lekalok. Osi chamile izinganecholi kaucho lekalok. Jolingo mojola achamile amatoda. Jolingo mojola achamile amatod. Osi chamile izingane choli kaucho lekalok. Osi chamile izingane choli kaucho lekalok. Hoya titim atitim 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 hoya titim. La 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 hoya ya. La 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 hoya hem. Osi chamile zingane choli kaucho lekalok. Osi chamile zingane choli kaucho lekalok. Jolingo mochola achamile amatoda. Jolingo mochola. Jolingo mochola.
Ntebo is originally from South Africa. I was born and raised in South Africa. I moved to the United States about 6 years ago. Oh, 7. About 7 years ago, I moved to the United States. I grew up in South Africa in a household of 5. I was raised by a single mom, and I come from a very musical family. So my mom is a music teacher. And in South Africa, at the time where I grew up, the culture of choral music, it was almost like not seen as what it is nowadays, like a profession. It was more like a hobby. So my life as a kid involved going to choir practice like 3 times a week, having a performance at least like once a week, each weekend in a group setup. It could be like 60 people, like a large choir, and it's community. So it would consist like of kids, adults who come after work, and we just all like come together and sing. Then I would have the same setup in the church, and that was just pretty much my life. So for my own personal music, I think because music was introduced to me as a child and I was kind of like born into that setup, it was a little difficult like in the beginning to like establish my own identity out of like the expectations that were set by society and other people. So back in South Africa, like growing up in early 2000, and I'm in every choir practice, singing choral music. It later translated into classical music because then the South African system, like the school system, started introducing like music as a formal subject, very accessible to Black communities, like at universities, at colleges. And at that point, I'd been in primary school singing in these choirs, and that's where my light was kind of like established, or seen by many people, because many people were like, oh, she could sing. I'm holding the solo parts. And I feel like that then kind of created like a natural path for me to take, because then the school approves of it. I could do it as a profession. So I ended up like being at a university, like studying classical music. It was a beautiful journey. I learned a lot how to kind of like establish yourself, your voice. So at that point, because I had been singing and I had been the girl who could sing, I feel like the teachers at school, the parents in the community, everyone had the expectation for me to, oh, she's going to go to music school. Oh, she's going to be a star. And everything, was kind of like laid out in front of me. That then did not give me a chance, I feel like, being that I was a child at that point, to just kind of like say, who am I? what do I like, because it's like, oh, you're so great, you're gonna be this opera singer, and then I'm in opera school. I believe like most black kids and African kids are faced with that problem. Your parents want you to study medicine, your parents want you to do this, and then later on you realize that actually that's not what I want. So I studied classical music. It was beautiful, I loved it, but it got to a stage where I felt like a little bit in a box, in terms of like in theater, you mostly work with the material that you have. It's already there for you. They write songs for you, you play a role, you represent someone else. So I think moving to the United States and being an immigrant, being exposed to the black community here, how diverse this society is, and just an opportunity to bridge the cultural gap, because that's my biggest passion. It got me so inspired to start writing my own songs. But then again, I'm in this different space and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta write my own song. And I'm like insecure about it. And I'm like, how do I do this? I want to record. But I had this urge and this desire to be able to like talk about the things that I want to talk about, write about the things that I want to write about, talk to my audience, and just find a niche. So I started writing my own songs, and I started going in studio and started recording. What I love most about making music is just like realizing the power that you have as a creative. You have the ability, and I feel like you're trusted with this great gift, to preach to other people, to heal, to inspire. So what I love about this journey is the sense of discomfort that I feel when I'm not doing music. I look at my life and I'm like, you know what? I'm very blessed. I'm grateful for so many things that, happen around me. And also because life can be hard and challenging as a creative, I've had a season, and as an immigrant, I've had a season of thinking, oh, you know what, maybe I could just move to America and do something different. Maybe I could study something different. Maybe I could like have more of a stable path, or that does not require me to take as much of a risk, because as artists we always feel like it's a risk to be in this industry. So exactly. So but with all that, like I'm healthy, I'm blessed. I have a beautiful family. I'm grateful for everything that happens around me. But I'm just so unhappy because I'm not doing what I love. So I think for me, just that sense of discomfort, and ultimately realizing that my own spiritual healing comes from making music. It's such an inspiration, and I've also like been so blessed to realize that I actually hold that key, to extend to the next person, for the next person's mental health, for the next person's insecurity. I can preach a beautiful message. I can share myself. I can share my energy, and that is a gift that I came to realize that I cannot afford to misuse. Coming to that realization that it is my spiritual gift, it's where I draw my healing, my inspiration, and everything. Just realizing that I cannot do anything without it has been enough for me to say, no matter how hard the road is, I'm just here and I'm here to stay. As long as I live and I get a chance to breathe, I will give it my full shot. I'm grateful for for my family. I have a supportive husband. I'm grateful to be in a space where I can network with other musicians. I'm grateful for platforms like the Crescendo. I think when I stepped out and decided that I wanted to be in the scene and work with other people, I was like, shoot, what do I do? What do people do these days? I was like, what do people do? I was like, do I audition? Do I look for a producer? Do I, and then I was on TikTok and I was just like music spaces, and then I found the Crescendo. I remember I called Bo, and Bo was like, do you want to go sing tomorrow? I was like, tomorrow? He was like, yeah, do you want to come sing tomorrow? And it was like, tomorrow? I was just trying to see what's going on. But then again, I had to challenge myself, because I was like, you told yourself that you are in and you are in to stay. So I was like, okay, I'll come tomorrow. And then I came, and that's how the relationship started. I've met beautiful people here. The one thing that I love most about this space is that it's for everyone. Like you are able to have an event where you would have like people from the industry, but from different, parts of the industry come together and do open mics, support each other. So I'm very grateful for this platform, and just the fact that it helps us grow, it helps us develop our personalities, it helps us work on our confidence. There's equipment, there's stage. I mean, it's amazing. It's just, that's part of the American dream for me. The advice that I would probably just give my younger self is to be patient. Secondly, it's very important to have a plan. The gift alone is not enough. That's what I have learned. That's what I've come to realize. Evolving, you have, it's as much as it's important to have an identity, to stick to your authenticity and be original, but it's also very important for you to keep up with the changes that's happening in the industry, so that you can use those tools to develop your craft. Learning about the entertainment business, I think, is very important. Some of us were just exposed to like music, that I can sing and that's all that but it's very important to educate yourself about what's happening in the industry that you are in as much as possible. Networking, I would advise myself to network a little bit more. I love being in spaces where I meet artists on the daily. I'm intentional about the crowds that I expose myself to. I think they always have to align with who I am, with what I'm doing. I think that's very important, that I would advise young people. And overall, I think the most important thing is to work on your confidence. When you work on your confidence and you know who you are, then it's easy. It's not easy for people to swing you around. My favorite song is a song that I wrote during the pandemic. It's titled Kancinci. So it's in my native language. It's a Xhosa. So Kancinci means bit by bit in context. So I wrote the song in the middle of the pandemic. When the pandemic started, it just like embodies like a lot of my feelings, feelings of readiness. I'm ready to do this, but at the same time I'm scared, and we're in the middle of the pandemic. Is it even going to happen? So the song goes Kancinci, Kancinci, like bit by bit, we're going to make it. Also, just it was affirmation to me, to exercise patience, like have a plan, do this. So the verses in the song, they talk about, okay, the world is ready for me, I'm gonna get this done, and then it's like bit by bit, the chorus. And then going to the second verse, it talks about, okay, now I'm out there, I'm scared, but I'm also doing this even though I'm scared. Just like just embracing feelings of insecurities, lack of confidence, fear, that these feelings, they don't necessarily escape. They're part of the journey, but what are you doing? You're conquering those feelings. So I think that's what the song is about. It just talks about bravery and courage. Bravery and courage is not the absence of fear, but it's just doing it. Even if you're scared, even if you feel insecure, you still like step out there and do it. So the song is like my favorite song because it's like a reflection of everything that I'm doing. So yeah, that's my favorite. DMV has a new child in the block, all the way from the motherland. And I'm excited to be here in the space. I'm performing around. I have a show upcoming on October 14th. It's going to be at Stages Music Arts. It's available on my Eventbrite. You can subscribe to my website, ntebo.com. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. It's at Ntebo_RSA. That's Republic of South Africa. Crescendo, good to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Peace out.